Hi, my name is Chenoa Stock, and I am your mission coworker serving in Bolivia for the Joining Hands Network, Umavida.
And I am Don Shaw, the Hunger Action Advocate for the Presbytery of the Cascades, and this is part 2 of a 3-part series about our partnership with Bolivia between the Presbytery of the Cascades and the Presbyterian Hunger Program. The first part had to do with history, this part has to do with where we are today, and the third part will have to do with where we are headed for the future. But let's get on to today. Chenoa, you came in the year 2011 to join as our mission co-worker in La Paz, Bolivia. So tell us what you found.
Right, so I started working with Umavida, which is Uniendo Manos por la Vida, the Spanish acronym, or Joining Hands for Life. And when I first arrived in 2011, I think one of the things that greatly impressed me that they had been working on was their program with the youth. We have a whole series of activities that starts with a water school where we gather youth, and it's a weekend usually, of learning about the environmental issues, not only in Bolivia, but around the region as well as internationally. And so it was a time to see these youth kind of learn about these issues, question these issues, and just talk about them together. And then this process moves into local actions where they go out and take what they've learned to find issues within their region or their neighborhoods and do something about it. So learning about a water plant or doing a survey with their communities to see who has access to water and for how long. And then that takes us to this photo exhibition where they show us through 3 to 5 photos their reality, and showing it through the photos, which we've also done that with our U.S. Presbytery partners, where the partners took pictures here in the U.S. because many Bolivian youth think the U.S. is pristine and all laws are followed. And that is, of course, not the case. And so it shows, again, this sharing of the similar issues that maybe we didn't even know existed. And then that takes us to this youth congress, which is kind of the climax of it all, where we create this congress where the youth are in charge, and that's also with our Peruvian sister network, the Joining Hands Network there. But we also have had 2 delegations from the U.S., from Cascades and San Francisco, to participate in that. And this is just on a grander scale, sharing these issues, these environmental issues of mining, of contamination, and other ones depending on the country or region of what's happening. So seeing these similarities and differences. And we talk about the environment because with Umavida, our campaign is focused on water, as Don mentioned in the first series, and specifically focusing on water contamination due to the mining extractive industry. And so one of our first activities or projects that we worked on together was calling for an environmental audit in the city of Oruro, which is a main mining center in Bolivia, where our partner organization, CEPA, the Center for Ecology and Andean People, were working and are working. And so we called for this environmental audit because we needed something to be able to speak with knowledge and not just these impressions that we could see. And so to have this evidence to talk about the issues more clearly with local authorities, with government officials.
As I understand, recalling back that day, I remember a marvelous job of passing the buck where it was always somebody else's fault. The mine was saying that, well, this, whatever pollution might be there isn't our fault, it's natural, and if it's not natural, then it was the result of a spill which took place long before our time and upriver from us. So it's not our fault in any event.
Right.
And this is why it was so important for us as outsiders to say, so we need some science.
Right.
Something that says we can speak to what's going on.
Right. Which is what the government also called for, and I think they thought we never would do it. And we did. And so this environmental audit happened over 3 years and eventually was released. And they gave us a 600-plus page technical document in Spanish and gave the community 15 days to comment on this, when many of these communities are indigenous Quechuan people. And so with our partners, with our U.S. partners, as well as with alliances of Earth Justice, which is a nonprofit law firm in San Francisco, we were able to support these communities in making comments about each part, about the human health part, about the chemical part. And we also did this with Dr. Fernando Serrano, who is a professor of environmental and occupational health in St. Louis University of Public Health. And through his works, through that connection with him through the audit, he came to Bolivia twice. He's come to visit us, to be with the Oruro communities, to learn about the issues, to see the actual contamination, its devastation that it causes, and also carry out workshops to plan ahead, to plan for the future with our work with him. And one thing on the books is hopeful that we've been talking about is a human health study. And so all of these contacts that we did through the environmental audit, we found through our partners, our U.S. partners in Cascades and San Francisco. And that led us to participating in a universal periodic review, which is a practice through the UN Human Rights Council. And this is a way to the civil society can write a report about what is happening in hopes that the government responds. And so it's to get international visibility, to apply pressure.
Through the United Nations.
Exactly, through the United Nations. And so we wrote that again with our partners as well as Earth Justice, and AIDA was another ally that joined us, who is the Inter-American Defense Association for the Defense of the Environment.
So we have all these different groups working together to raise the visibility of this polluted water issue as it impacts Bolivia, thanks to the mining industry.
Yes. And only through our U.S. partners could we have had made contact with all of these resources and people, and that partnership and our U.S. partnership is such an important piece of our work. And so, of course, we have delegations, because how can they help us if they don't understand the situation? And so you all have visited us before, as well as during my time. There have been 2 delegations to Bolivia to talk with the people, the Oruro communities, to talk with the ombudsman for the people, to attend the climate change summit. So there have been many interactions, and so you all understand what is happening in Bolivia.
And one of the most rewarding things for me was when the Bolivians came to the United States. And this has happened several times, thanks to various church programs as well as our own program. And they have come and they've interacted with our people here in Oregon, especially in the Klamath Basin, but also in Central Oregon and other areas where they were able to understand our water problems and we could understand theirs with a remarkable amount of intuitive grasp. I was just astounded. And I think we have time for a brief digression. I must share one of the great highlights was driving up the highway. One of the Bolivians said, "Can we turn off here? I need a picture of me by that sign." And I said, "What sign?" The sign that said Springfield. I said, yes. So we took a picture of her by the sign that said Springfield. And I said, "So what's this about?" She says, "Oh, The Simpsons." Our impact is everywhere.
Yep, it's very true.
So delegations are very important.
Yes, both ways. And so, to kind of conclude, where we are as Umavida now is we've recently felt this need. We've existed for 15 years together in partnership, and we felt the need to discern and reflect on these past 15 years as a network. And this includes, looking at the country context and the government changes and dynamics of the ever-evolving government and the flow of that, and how that affects Umavida, and how that affects our mission there, confronting these issues of mining contamination. And so we hired an outside consultant to do this analysis. And so now with this analysis, with the evaluation, looking at our structure and how we've worked and how we would like to work, with these results and the understanding, we're really excited to see how it will move us into this exciting future that we have.
So this is a hinge point in the life of Umavida.
Yes, that's exactly what I would call it, yes.
And stay tuned for the next segment of this, and we will tell you all about where the crystal ball says we're headed.